somewhere in time, we welcomed in the fall. But in the distance we can see shining clear our demise to be. We're not listening to ourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second qualifier of the Team Liquid Legacy Star League. I am Sale, and with me today is Elegant.
Hello, good day Mr. Sale, good day to all the viewers. Once again, incredibly happy to be here, of course.
Indeed, indeed. The second day in a row of awesome Brood War games, awesome Brood War content. Hopefully some more Protoss today, because of course yesterday we saw no true Protoss in the round of 4, although Technics did in fact grace us with his off race, which was quite amusing.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you did miss yesterday's games from Qualifier 1, the VODs are available. There was a thread on Team Liquid in Brood War General or something. I don't know. You can look around, but it's there. It's there, this thread. It says Qualifier 1 VODs. It's very nice and organized and spoiler-free. So do check that out if you want. I will be spoiling the results, I think. I think that's fair, of that qualifier. So that was in fact won by, cover your ears if you don't want to hear, Eon Zerg took the top spot, and second place was Technics. So they have both qualified for the TLS. They're no longer allowed to play in any more qualifiers. So if you don't see them in the bracket, that's why. They're already in the tournament. Yeah, so cool. Anyway, moving on to today's qualifier.
Exactly.
So as we did yesterday, we're going to start off with a few games from before the semifinals. In fact, today we're going to start from the round of 128. Excuse me. That's right, all the way from the beginning, because due to some unfortunate random seeding and just bracket luck, a few big names actually met up in the round of 128. So, the first two players we're going to be watching today are going to be none other than SouthPark and dRaW, also known as Kid Canada. Now, dRaW, I know you're watching. I was talking to him in the chat just before we started, and he promised me if we casted a game of his that he would win the entire tournament. And of course, he is one of my favorite Protoss players. So, dRaW, here we go. Casting your round of 128 game, baby.
Time to put the money where the mouth is, I'm afraid, Kid Canada.
Indeed, indeed. So this is going to be a PvZ. SouthPark is a very high-level Polish Zerg. So, yeah, it should be quite a high-level and interesting match here on Fighting Spirit. Very standard map. And without further ado, I think we can go into the game. You ready, Elegant?
I'm absolutely ready.
All right, here we go. Game number 1 of our second qualifier of the TLS. Alright, here we are in game number 1. At the top left, as the red Protoss, we will have dRaW, also known as Kid Canada. And at the bottom left, as the yellow Zerg, we will have SJ's SouthPark.
Yes, we will indeed, and this is going to be some good stuff. A bit of classic Protoss versus Zerg on the classic map, which is Fighting Spirit. Both of these guys are going to be so well acquainted with this map, and I'm sure they'll be able to bring their A game for this. I've practiced it day in, day out for about 2 or 3 years right now, so hopefully they're going to be able to bring their very best. And these are, of course, two very well-renowned players in the scene. dRaW, also known as Kid Canada, a little bit of a kind of community guy. Everybody sort of knows who he is. Everybody's talked to him at some point, and he can regularly be seen lurking around various streams. And SouthPark, also not such a community guy, but also very well known for his high quality of play as well.
Indeed, indeed. And the funny thing about dRaW, though, is that even though he really likes to get involved in the community and talk to a lot of people, he tends to dodge tournaments.
Oh,
That's
terribly,
right.
terribly.
He's just one of those guys. I mean, he's a really top-level Protoss player, but he just hasn't posted that many significant results. Mainly just because he doesn't play in tournaments. He always just kind of signs up for stuff and doesn't show. But hold that thought, we do actually have a 9-bull here coming from SouthPark, so some early aggression from our Zerg player here on a 4-player map, not very standard. And in fact, dRaw's going to get lucky here and scout him right off the bat with his probe scout. So he's going to know exactly what's going on. He's going to throw down that forge immediately here with the second probe and throw up a couple of cannons.
Well, of course, dRaW did go for quite a smart scouting pattern. We saw him go straight to the left-hand side of the map to check if he could see the Overlord floating over that third base position. Of course, at which point he'd know that the Zerg was in the bottom left-hand corner. So he was a little bit lucky, but also a little bit canny with his scouting pattern. So a little bit of credit to him there. And he does, of course, get the full scout. And he's seen the 9-bull, he sees the speed. This forge down already, his cannons are really going to be in time, and it's just a matter of whether he'll have enough probes out there to block, whether he'll go for a third cannon. Of course, we saw yesterday Technics doing some masterful undoing of his opponents with Ling run-bys, so let's see if SouthPark's just trying to have a repeat of that kind of form.
Indeed, and it looks like it will be 9-pull speed going the whole mile, not just going to cancel it and do a gas trick like I think Eon Zerg showed us as well. The other variation of the 9-pull. Nope, he's going all the way here, going for the 7th and 8th Zergling here. The probe does see the Zerglings coming out, so dRaW knows exactly how long or when they're going to get to his choke here, and he's got 2 cannons on the way. This first one's definitely going to finish in time. I'm pretty sure the second one will finish in time as well, and the Zerglings are actually not going to run straight there. They're actually a little bit concerned, I guess, that another probe might be hiding somewhere, because as I was talking about yesterday when we saw Technics going for the 9-pull speed, it's very, very difficult to get a probe scout out, or basically impossible if you don't have a probe out on the map. When the Zerglings get to your front, you're basically never going to leave your base until you get a Corsair scout out. So a lot of times Protoss players will just kind of preemptively sneak a probe out, and we can see the probe going back out here. It is going to get intercepted by some Zerglings though.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty easily shut down. Your point about getting the probe scout is exactly right. You have to try and get a scout out as early as possible in these situations, and we can see dRaW is sending out another one to the 12 o'clock position, so perhaps SouthPark will be slightly confused, and you'll think he's just seen off the only scout that dRaW has actually managed to send out, so maybe a Protoss player will get a little bit lucky here. Of course, if his probe scout dies, then his only other option is to start making zaps and to try some kind of push in the early mid game, just to get some information.
Now this is very interesting. So another probe has snuck around the 12 o'clock. There's a lot of Zerglings making, and Technics is making more Zerglings. He has taken his natural here, but really he is committing quite heavily to some kind of big Ling attack on the front. But I mean, dRaw's already got 3 cannons up. He's got 6 probes here off the line to block this. He's got a very nice wall here. It is tight between the gateway and the forge. There is a gap here between the forge and the pylon, and a 2 Zergling wide gap, I think, here at the top, which he's blocking with his probes. So he's blocked both of the gaps here in the wall, and I really don't see how the Zerg is going to get through here. Overlord now actually coming down to maybe sneak a peek and see exactly how well defended this is. Seeing all these probes there, I'm not sure if SouthPark is actually is going to commit or not here. It might be better just to save these Zerglings for later on.
Yeah, no, I think you'd be better off saving them. I mean, as long as dRaW keeps all those probes at the front, there's no way any valuable number of Zerglings is getting through. Might get 1 or 2 through, but they'd probably be damaged as it is. We do see that dRaW managed to get that second probe scout all the way into his opponent's base, so he gets the full scout off and sees that there is no lair on the way yet. So he'll at this point be assuming a third base, even though he hasn't scouted it. He'll know it probably exists. But yeah, I think it would just be sensible for SouthPark to take a little bit of a backseat for a while and kind of chalk that one off as a little bit of a loss. Although having said that, he's lost dRaW so much mining time and forced an extra cannon, so it's actually really not ended up too bad for him, and it's probably pretty even going into the next stage.
Well, it's quite interesting because, you might look at these probes and say, why is he just leaving them there? Why doesn't he send them back to mining? The thing is, when that probe scout got into the Zerg base, one very important thing that dRaW did was he counted the drones. because even if he didn't see exactly how many Zerglings were made, just by seeing the larva usage, you know, the lack of drones indicates roughly how many Zerglings you might expect to see on the map. So the fact that he left all these probes here, I don't actually mind too much, because he kind of, it was a conscious decision. Like, he wasn't just playing it safe and guessing. He basically knew that's exactly what he needed to be safe at that point. And now he's blocked it with Zeld, so that's fine now. And oh, we have a Hydra Bust follow-up.
Yep, and we have a 4th cannon just as a Hydra den goes down, so clearly Draw seems to know what's up. And I think that 4th cannon is definitely going to serve him very well. I was thinking, oh my god, he's made a 4th cannon and he doesn't need it, because that would be really expensive if he didn't need it, but it seems that he's actually called this really quite nicely, so that Hydra den's... I'm not sure how effective this is actually going to be, as long as Draw just stays on top of things. I think he should be alright to defend this.
And see, this is the kind of thing that, I mean, I find really annoying as the Protoss player in this situation is, see, now that he's got no more probes on the map, even though he saw earlier on that a lot of Zerglings were made, right now he really is not sure what's going on. So, you know, that 4th cannon, he's made it for safety, and as you said, it is going to work nicely against the Hydra Den, but it's kind of like a blind move. He's like, you know, the Zerg might be Hydra busting me, I'm not sure, so I need this cannon to be safe. But then again, if the Zerg actually does commit to like this 3-hatch Hydra all-in, 4 cannons is actually not enough to hold that. Like, he actually does need at least another cannon. And he is in fact building a 5th cannon, you see, because he basically has to defend against all the possibilities here. Whether the Zerg is, you know, droning up like crazy, or if he's going for the Hydra Bust, the Protoss kind of needs to be prepared for everything. And in fact, Draw's using his first Corsair to kill the Overlord here instead of going out to scout, which I find a little bit surprising. I'm not sure if he saw something else that maybe indicated that there's a Hydra Bust coming or something.
He seems to know. He's throwing down extra cannons, and he's not particularly anxious about the scout, and he's going for Reavers as well. He must know there's a Hydra Bust coming in.
Yeah, this is very curious here. I'm wondering what Draw saw that made him feel the Hydra Bust, or maybe this was just his cannon. Actually, you know what? Actually, I take it back. I think those cannons are just because he's going for Ser Reaver. Which means that his ground forces right now are going to be very weak anyway. Like, it doesn't matter if there was going to be a Hydra Bust coming or not. He needed those cannons basically just to be safe. And now you can see he's building a 6th cannon because he's seen the Hydralisks. But basically, the strategy he's going for 2 Stargate Corsair and Reaver. It's a very micro-intensive, very cool strategy to watch, but it does leave you a bit vulnerable here in the early game because you essentially have like 2 ground units. 2 Reavers and 2 Reavers and 2 Zealots is basically your entire ground force. So you do need these cannons to stay alive until the Ser Reaver can get rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I can't count the number of times. Oh, what build was that? A second Stargate? It just cancelled their name.
Oh,
I think it was.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. What was I gonna... Oh yeah, I can't count the number of times I haven't made enough cannons when I'm going Ser Reaver, and then no matter how well it goes, the Zerg's always going to be able to kind of build up one big bust, and it's probably going to be able to kill you if you're not well enough defended. So this is sensible play from Draw, and he has got a lot of photon cannons coming in, so he should be just fine, and an extra pylon or 2 as well to make sure that they all stay powered. But interestingly, this hasn't seemed to put off SouthPark too badly. He's just continuing to produce units, and I think he feels pretty committed. But given that he's got a 3rd base as well, I think he's just getting to a kind of a safe level before he can then start actually droning up. So we can see he's still really thin on the drone count.
I think if he is going to actually break this and win, he has to do it before this Reaver comes out. So the Reaver's out now, it's still building Scarabs, so he needs to go not right now, and he does go right now. He needs to just kill this before the Reaver can get that many shots off. The Scarabs do build fairly slowly, but there's just so many cannons here, and it's walled in with pylons as well. Very smart, messing up the AI of the Zerglings and Hydralisks, drilling his probes out to help with the defense. The Reaver is continuing to just run around and try and get shots off. It's building Scarabs as fast as it can, and it looks like it's successful, but unfortunately for Draw, he let his probes transfer out a little bit too far, throwing away a couple of extra probes there. I think what he did was he used the vision from the Corsair to actually click his probes to his opponent's minerals and just drill them through, and then forgot to put them back once the attack was defended. So a bit of a mistake there, but otherwise pretty well defended.
Yeah, he has quite a lot of economy in the process, though. We can see he's pretty thin on probes and he doesn't seem to be making more, so I guess that's a little bit of a mistake by him. He needs the economy build up right now. He needs absolutely all he can get, so I think he should start pumping probes again right away. He is researching shuttle speed upgrades, so he might be able to do some harass pretty soon, but he's producing a 3rd Reaver as well, so clearly not feeling like he's out of the woods yet, and just wants to make sure he's well defended. And he should be. I mean, with all those cannons and with 2 Reavers at home and 1 Reaver elsewhere in a shuttle, he should be absolutely fine.
And you know what? I do like that he's doing that, producing those extra Reavers, because, oh man, there have been so many times, like even in Pro League, even like from the pro Korean players, there's this one Protoss player called Cal, who I like quite a bit, but like several games last season, he went for Corsair Reaver and just decided to move out with his first 1 or 2 Reavers, and then just had Hydras break down his natural because he didn't have anything defending it there. So I really like that dRaw's playing it safe, making sure he's adequately defended at home before going out to attack. I mean, basically he knows that the Zerg, having committed so many resources and larva to this Hydroling attack, he's not really going to have a great economy anyway. So even if his Reaver harass is delayed, he's still in a pretty decent position. I mean, just look at this. There's only 4 drones mining here on the natural. I mean, this extractor is completely unused.
Yeah.
So dRaw's still in a pretty good position, I think.
I think so too. I mean, this whole game, the way this has been played out, it's kind of just delayed everything. These guys have come out quite evenly matched at the end of all this. I mean, they've both had to sacrifice a lot. We can see that dRaw's still really, really low in terms of the standing army. He's got 3 Reavers and not much else. A few Corsairs still flying around the map. I think he'd probably do with a couple more Corsairs in order to make himself absolutely safe against Scourge. But our Zerg player also very, very thin on stuff. We're looking like he's making ready to defend a shuttle harass that comes into his third, so that's probably a sensible idea. And dRaW needs to make absolutely sure he doesn't throw away his shuttle cheaply, because that would be a major, major blow to his chances in this match.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at all of the hatcheries for burrow research, because that's actually a very, very cool trick that the Zerg can do to try and catch the Protoss' shuttle here. I mean, if he burrowed these 4 Hydras, waited for the shuttle to come in and unburrowed, he could actually just, you know, immediately snipe it off, and unless dRaW had some kind of crazy sixth sense and insane reaction time, it'd be quite difficult to actually avoid that. But look at this, a Reaver and 2 DTs in this shuttle. There's no Overlord speed. Are there any Overlords in the main? There's no Overlord in the main. There's no Overlord even near the main. Both 2 Overlords at the natural. They can actually get killed off quite easily by these +1 attack Corsairs. These 2 DTs could actually wreak havoc here. The Reaver, of course, as well, can do a lot of damage on the drone line. There's actually not that many drones anyway for the Reavers to splash, but this is looking very, very dangerous. I think the Reaver or the DTs might be dropped. Okay, looks like the Reaver being dropped at the natural first. He should really drop the DTs here in the main, let them go, and then micro the Reaver here, because the DTs he doesn't actually have to micro that much. He kind of just set them loose in the drone line while he focuses on the shuttle and Reaver. Ooh, nice scarab there.
I think he's going to keep the DTs hidden until a little bit later. He's going to wait until his units leave the main base, and so then, of course, SouthPark will take his eye off things at the main, and he'll just focus elsewhere. And at that point, he'll be able to bring the DTs down. Hopefully for him, grab a whole load of drone kills, which would be a very, very nice move. And I think that's exactly what he's planning to do. We still have no Overlord speed in here either, but it looks like one of these Overlords, might almost see those DTs by mistake, and it does. SouthPark getting quite lucky there with an accidental scout on these DTs and managing to kill one of them off. So if I was dRaW, I'd be running back there now with my Corsairs, and SouthPark still way on the ball. He's absolutely ready for this second shuttle harass to come in as natural as well.
The problem was that one of the DTs did actually survive this, and the Overlord still doesn't have speed. It's trying to walk back here, but dRaW doesn't actually quite realize how far away it is, so he's just pulling back his DT to be safe. He's just going to leave it here in the corner of the base, try and maybe move it in later on to get some more drone kills. Oh, looks like one of the Corsairs does get killed running into those Hydras there, but the shuttle and the Reaver crucially are safe. And wow, that's quite a few High Templar there that he's masked up back at home here. So keeping up on that macro.
And if there were bursts coming in, he'd be equal to it now. He must have Storm done already, and he also has his +1 weapons. So yeah, he'd be looking good. Did SouthPark just kill one of his own drones?
No, I think the Reaver actually dropped there and ran away, but the Scarab was kind of like bugging out and didn't explode until an hour later.
Okay, because I got back and I saw the shuttle heading out, and then a drone blew up, and I was like, what? Mystery bug. The bug of the exploding drones. That's not happening. Oh, we have the DT coming out of his hiding place in SouthPark's men. SouthPark does have an Overlord in the group of Hydralists ready. So, yeah, this DT is really going to give no trouble to him. He's got great Overlord coverage in his main as natural, so that's going to be easily shut down. And those DTs really didn't do the damage they could.
Oh god, Storm drop in the third, Storm drop in the third, Storm! No, not enough drones to make it that impressive. Although he is going to get a few Hydralisks this time as well. Or not. Wow, I thought that Storm should have killed a few of those Hydras, but he does kill something like 6 drones or so there. Which, given how low SouthPark's drone count is overall, that's actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's really not too bad. I definitely feel like it was worth it. He's got the High Templar to spare. There's no way he could use like 6 High Templar that effectively in one battle, unless the battle raged for a very long time, which wouldn't really happen at this stage of the game. So I think it's good to at least use up a few on Storm Drops right there. Even if the High Templar do go down, it's not the end of the world. And now dRaW deciding to push out. I think this is going to be a good shout for him. We see SouthPark with pretty split up forces here, and dRaw's going to be able to get a decent engagement position. He needs to make sure as many of his High Templar survive as possible here, but SouthPark not looking too keen to go in for the High Templar snipes, and he's going to have to sack a few Overlords here as well as he retreats to a safe position and tries to collect his army into one big ball. Although I really fancy dRaw's chances here. He's got a lot of units coming down this left-hand side of the map. He's got plenty of Storm in his army as well, and that's a great composition to be fighting against. Pretty much pure Hydralisk, 4 Reavers in that army as well. I am afraid for SouthPark right now.
Oh man, SouthPark has absolutely no tech units right now. He's just got pure Hydras, pure tier 1. Looks like the one High Templar in the army does get sniped. The Reavers are actually not in position to attack the Hydralisk, so the rest of the ground forces are actually running away here and just leaving the Reavers to their fate. The Reavers, though, do have the shuttle, so they can actually retreat. So I think that was like a very smart move. Wow, huge Scarab there. dRaW, very smart in that engagement. He knew that the Reavers were not in position to support his ground troops, but that the Hydras had no way to move up this ramp to actually kill them. And even if they could get up here, the Reavers could just jump into the shuttle and run away. So he actually just ran back with his main army, and oh my god, SouthPark is deciding to commit with his Hydralisk, but running headlong into all those storms and is gonna get crushed here outside the Protoss natural. Nothing left of this Hydralisk army with just no tech units to back it up, no lurkers, no nothing there. And the Reaver is going to load right back up after killing the Lair. SouthPark back down to 2 bases, lost his tech, is in very, very bad shape.
Yeah, terrible shape. I think there was a real error in judgment on SouthPark's part, because I think he somehow imagined that those 2 High Templar in the Storm Drop and the one he sniped off was pretty much all of the High Templar dRaW had to his name, so he was perfectly happy to just go for a big kind of frontal assault kind of thing. And with the Hydralisk number he had, it might have been enough, but honestly, he needed to scout a bit more carefully. He needs to bargain for more High Templar than that, and honestly, I don't know what he can do now. He has 4 Reavers in his natural and a handful of units, but he does not have anything to deal with this. SouthPark losing all of his drones there as well. A very well-timed side storm coming in from dRaW. And SouthPark's just having to defend the top of his ramp with a group of Hydralisks, but honestly, it looks like he's going to have a pretty ignominious defeat right here in the round of, what was it, 128 in this qualifier, so he's going to have to lick his wounds and come back for more, because he is pretty much out of here at this stage. dRaW has overwhelming force and is now taking the 12 o'clock base as well. Bleak times for our Zerg friend. Indeed.
Looks like a drone actually managed to sneak out there just before the army hit and making a hidden... I don't know, is this a hidden natural now? A hidden third? Well, this is his second base now because he lost his natural. So I'm not really sure what to call this. But yeah, either way, it's pretty much over. Protoss getting a third base. By the way, I like that. What was that word you used just now?
Ignominious.
Ignominious. Yeah, that one. Whatever that is. Man, you should have like a rap battle with Sir Jolt or something. You guys got all the crazy words.
Yeah, no one would listen to that.
I would for sure. I would stream it too.
Alright, we'll set that up, yeah? After the TLS is done, it's like the
exactly, it can be like the after party.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it's very important. And we have dRaW pushing all the way up SouthPark's ramp right now. SouthPark's units are all away, having a bit more of a crack at the front door, but there are so many cannons in there. 2 High Templar, trying to make an Archon, not quite managing to, but once you lost your main, it's all pretty much G the G. And SouthPark GG's out. dRaW will take it on through to the next round.
Aw, yeah. Alright, so congratulations to dRaW for making it to the round of 64. Of course, it is only best of 1 up to the round of 8, I believe, so which is a best of 3 through to the finals. And in fact, we are going to go on to another round of 128 game. Man, that's a mouthful. Anyway,